Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by, and welcome to MOGU's second quarter fiscal year 2021 financial results. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. After the speaker's presentation, there will be a question-and-answer session. To ask a question during the session, you will need to press star 1 on your telephone. If you require any further assistance, please press star 0. I would now like to turn the call over to Mr. Rene Van Gustain. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Amy. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. MOGU's earnings release was distributed earlier today and is available on the IR website at ir.mogu-inc.com, as well as on the Business Wire services. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that this conference call contains forward-looking statements within the meaning of Section 21E of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, as amended, and as defined in the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. These forward-looking statements are based upon management's current expectations and the current market and operating conditions, and relate to events that involve known or unknown risks, uncertainties, or other factors, all of which are difficult to predict, and many of which are beyond the company's control, which may cause the company's actual results, performance, or achievements to differ materially from those in the forward-looking statements. Further information regarding these and other risks, uncertainties, or factors is included in the company's filings with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The company does not undertake any obligation to update any forward-looking statement as a result of new information, future events, or otherwise, except as required under applicable law. On the call tonight from MOGU are Mr. Sha-Chen Chi, Chairman and CEO, Mr. Raymond Huang, Chief Strategy Officer, Mr. Le Li, Investor Relations Director, and Ms. Wei-Ching Ellie Wang, Financial Controller. Mr. Cheng will review the business operations and company highlights, followed by Mr. Huang, who will discuss financials. They will all be available to take your questions during the Q&A session. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our Chairman and CEO, Mr. Chen. Please go ahead.
大家好，感谢大家来参加我们2021财年第二季度的电话会议。
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on the second quarter results announcement of the fiscal year 2021 today.
过去的一个季度，我们的直播业务继续保持着高速的增长态势。这个季度我们直播的 GMV 同比增长了 42.2%， 达到了 23.16 亿元。直播业务的 GMV 占比提升达到了 74.4%， 直播业务现在已经实质性的成为了我们公司业绩增长的核心驱动力。蘑菇街作为直播电商的发明者，在过去4年多的直播业务的建设中，在人货场各个维度也都建立了我们自己比较深的护城河。在直播行业这个发展的过程当中，我们正在取得越来越多的发展机会。
In the past quarter, we continue to see a high growth rate in the live video broadcasting e-commerce. The GMV increased by 42.2% year-over-year to RMB 2.3 billion in the second quarter, contributing 74.4% of the total GMV. MOGU Live has essentially become our growth engine as a first mover of live e-commerce. During the last 4 years, we have established a very differentiating shopping experience, which enable us to capture more growth opportunities in the e-commerce space in China.
蘑菇街在提供给用户直通工厂的低价好货的同时，也在通过我们的主播传递给用户更多的附加价值，包括商品选购的建议、穿搭护肤的和生活指南，以及各种丰富交互的内容，还有社交和陪伴的精神满足等等。这一些附加的价值让蘑菇街的用户粘性非常强烈，时长、转化、复购、单 UV 价值等等指标表现都非常好。第二个季度呢，也是我们时尚电商的淡季，在控制市场投放的情况下， 我们的直播购买用户依然实现了 20.7% 的同比增长。我们也正在发力社交分享和裂变拉新的获客方式，来提高获取用户的效率。
Not only do we provide quality and affordable products directly from the manufacturers to our customers, we also offer much more through our KOLs, such as diversified fashion content, immersive interaction, and companionship. This experience strengthens our customer engagement. Customers continue to spend longer time on our app and shop with higher frequency. Second quarter is a typical quarter with seasonality. Despite that, we have adopted a more prudent approach in terms of the sales marketing. The number of our LVB active buyers grew 20.7% year-over-year. In addition, our social sharing and referral program is working very well to acquire more customers with precise targeting and higher cost efficiency.
MOGU街在用户体验的打造上一直在不停的创新和探索。这个季度我们又推出了短视频详情页的新形态，我们把直播间里面最好的商品通过主播讲解的短视频的形式呈现给用户。这种详情页不同于传统的图文详情页，让用户无论在直播间内还是直播间外都可以更好的享受主播讲解亲身试穿以及提供搭配建议的这样的一种新的购物体验。这可以打造更有效的直播购物形态。
We're continuously enriching the mobile shopping experience. We have launched a version of short video detail page, which captures the best product presentation by our KOLs in their live shows. Different from the traditional static detail page, this innovation allows our customers, no matter inside or outside of the MOGU live room, to enjoy KOL's explanation, fitting and matching advice, and creating a more efficient and effective live shopping experience.
在直播生态的建设上，MOGU街依然在为无论头部还是中腰部还是小主播，都在为他们提供发展的机会，而且通过比较深度的供应链赋能和人货搭配，保障我们主播的持续增长。在双11大促当中，我们的头部主播继续突破上限，我们有2位主播实现了单场直播破2个亿，成为双11之中全网名列前茅的1级主播。我们的主播粉丝价值目前也是全网最高的。
To build a more sustainable live e-commerce ecosystem, we'll continue to focus on new KOL incubation and supply chain empowerment. During the Double 11 promotion, our top KOLs continue to break the records. 2 KOLs have each achieved over 200 million sales over one live session, marking them the top KOLs in the whole industry. Our KOLs also have the highest value per fans across all the live e-commerce platforms.
供应链端连接源头工厂依然是MOGU街赋能主播惠及消费者的核心模式。我们在11月初进行了全国7大产业带的溯源直播，许多产业带的商家单场直播实现了数个月的销售额。直播缩短了商品的联通环节，提升了多方的效率，让用户、主播、商家和平台多方能够获利。
Our supply chain empowerment plays a critical role in empowering KOLs and benefiting our consumers. In early November, we conducted live video broadcast to trace 7 major apparel production zones in China. This activity helped local manufacturers sell more products in a single live session than they otherwise needed to over a few months. MOGU Live simplify and accelerate the product circulation, improve the efficiency of various parties, and deliver great value to our customers.
用户价值是我们的核心追求，我们会继续在直播生态的各个方面巩固优势，持续创新，充分发挥直播电商的优势，为用户提供更好的购物体验。
We aim to deliver more value to our customers. We will continue to innovate MOGU Live and establish a better fashion shopping experience for our customers. Thank you, Shark. Thanks again, everyone. This is Raymond speaking. Thank you for joining our conference call today. So now I'll walk you through our second quarter fiscal year 2021 financials. We believe year-over-year comparison is the best way to review our performance. Unless otherwise stated, all percentage changes I'm going to give you will be on that basis. Let's review the financials first. Our GMV for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021 was RMB 3,112 million, a decrease of 25.3% year-over-year. GMV for the 12 months period ended September 30, 2020 was RMB 14,951 million, a decrease of 16.1% year-over-year. Our focus has been growing the GMV from live video broadcasting, which has increased by 42.2% year-over-year to RMB 2,360 million. LVV associated GMV for the second quarter of fiscal year 2021 accounted for 74.4% of the total GMV. Active buyers of the LVV in the last 12 months period ended September 30th, 2020 grew by 20.7% year-over-year to 3.5 million. So let's now turn to revenues. During this quarter, total revenues decreased by 43.1% to RMB 112.5 million from RMB 197.9 million during the same quarter of the fiscal year 2020. Commission revenue decreased by 32% to RMB 68.9 million from RMB 101.3 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020, primarily due to the restructuring of the company's business towards a LVB-focused model. Commission revenue from the LVB business grew year-over-year continuously and was in line with the continued year-over-year growth in the LVB associated GMV. Marketing services revenues, which is mainly generated from our marketplace business unit, decreased by 71.5% to RMB 18 million from RMB 63.1 million in the same period of the fiscal year 2020. The decrease was primarily due to restructuring of the company's business towards a LVB-focused model. I will now walk you through our major costs and expense. Cost of revenue decreased by 40.1% to RMB 45.5 million from RMB 76 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020, which was primarily due to a decrease in the cost associated with decreased online direct sales and IT-related expenses. Sales and marketing expenses decreased by 73.5% to RMB 47.9 million from RMB 180.8 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020, primarily due to optimized spending on user acquisition and user incentive programs resulted from the restructuring of the company's business, and also as a measure we conducted to counter the adverse impact of COVID-19. Research and development expenses decreased by 45% to RMB 27.7 million from RMB 50.3 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020, primarily as a result of headcount optimization we conducted to counter the adverse impact of COVID-19. General and administrative expenses decreased by 37.4% to RMB 24.7 million from RMB 39.5 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020, primarily due to a decrease of payroll expenses. Amortization of intangible assets decreased by 1.4% to RMB 75.8 million from RMB 76.8 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020. Loss from operations was RMB 100.5 million, compared with loss from operations of RMB 223.6 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020. Net loss attributable to MOGU's ordinary shareholders was RMB 93.7 million, compared with a net loss attributable to MOGU's ordinary shareholders of RMB 326.6 million in the same period of fiscal year 2020. Cash and cash equivalent, restricted cash and short-term investments were RMB 802.5 million as of September 30, 2020, compared with RMB 1,095.4 million as of March 31st, 2020. In summary, we also have a subsequent event. In October 2020, one of the company's investees repurchase a majority portion of the company's investments in the investees for a total cash consideration of approximately $16 million, equivalent to RMB 107.1 million, of which the $14.4 million was received in October 2020. As a result, again from the investments will be recognized in the quarter ended December 31st, 2020. In summary, from financial performance perspective, we are still in the progress of business restructuring, shifting our growth engine from traditional e-commerce to live e-commerce. Looking forward, our product innovation and our dedication to supply chain development will deliver a very differentiated fashion shopping experience to our customers. MOGU Live will drive our growth going forward. So with that, I would like to open the call for Q&A.
Thank you. At this time, we will be conducting our question and answer session. In order to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for a brief moment to compile a Q&A roster. Your first question comes from the line of your first question comes from the line of Charlie Chen with China Renaissance. Charlie, your line is open.
Shark、Raymond 管理层各位好，非常感谢你们的时间来解答我的问题。我有2个问题啊，一个就是说从这个第2季度看起来，这个 live broadcasting 这块的 GMV 增速似乎比就上一季度有一个比较明显的一个放缓。我想请问一下这个有没有什么特别的原因？那然后呢，就是现在来看，就是双11刚才也说了，这个整个的表现，头部的这个主播都表现比较好，所以我想看一下，就是第3季度整个这个live broadcasting 这一块的一个 GMV 增速的一个 guidance 是怎么样的？谢谢。
谢谢。是这样，就是第一个呢，这个我们刚刚讲到，就是这个季度相对来说是直播的一个淡季。然后第2个呢，对疫情对这个事情还是会有一些影响因为今年疫情的这个时间对我们的这个夏天和秋天，其实就是在当时这个就是今年春天的时候，这些工人的准备就不足了，然后对后面的这个夏天和秋天是会有一定的影响这个是第2个影响。然后第3个影响的话我讲那个确实是在去年对前年的时候，这个前年的这个基数会相对更小一点，我觉得这个可能也会是一个影响。对，所以就几个不同的因素的影响之下吧，所以看起来会增速会有一些这个下降。然后另外你说到的这个后面一个季度，然后在新的这个季度，目前看起来还是比较强劲的，特别是我们的双11表现非常好，整个双11的这个直播的这个销售超过了我们当时设定的这个双11的目标非常多的。总体上来讲呢应该新的这个季度我们信心还是比较足的联盟补充一下吧。
Okay. Maybe I will just translate the question and the answers for the benefits of the audience. So the question was question is about the slower growth rate of the GMV from the LBB associated business over last quarter. And the Shark's answer to that was number 1, the Q2 was actually a quarter with seasonality. And number 2, apparently we are still seeing some leftover effect from the COVID-19 situation, because a lot of apparel factories are actually not 100% prepared, and sometimes they are running out of capacity as well as raw materials they need to produce the apparels. And number 3, compared with the previous quarter, I think the previous quarter from 2019 was actually a quite strong quarter. So the previous quarter was actually a grow out of a lower base, and this quarter is actually compared with a stronger quarter of last year. So that's the 3 reasons that Shark addressed the question about the slower growth rate. And going forward, I think we have achieved a very good Double 11 promotion, and we are seeing very strong performance from the live video broadcasting business. And we are very confident with this quarter. And as we have achieved our goals in the Double 11 promotion, and we are seeing very very good results from this quarter so far.
好的，谢谢。
谢谢。
And again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your next question comes from the line of Lucky Lau with AJ Asset Management. Lucky, your line is open.
喂，管理层你们好，我有2个问题。第一，想请问一下这个双11的数据情况怎么样了？比去年同期表现怎么样了？能看到未来是什么的一个 trend 呢？然后第二个问题就是，我看到公司收回$1600万的一个投资，能不能讲一下那个是什么的一个投资来的？然后收回来的资金，是用来做什么的呢？是不是用于之前的回购的计划了？谢谢。
So maybe Lucky, I'll just translate the question and answer at the same time for you. So the question was about the Double 11 performance we have maybe basically just 1 month ago, and the other question is about the cash we have received from the investees repurchase of the investment. So number 1 on the Double 11 promotion, apparently it's a very important promotion for all the e-commerce platforms in China, and this year. Again, our focus is really on the MOGU Live, our live video broadcasting business. And apparently this year we have delivered very, very strong results. I think a few key points I want to emphasize is that number 1, our top KOLs, they have each delivered over 200 million sales over 1 live session. So that's a very, very impressive result. That's basically 200 million sales over just a few hours. That's extremely competitive results compared with all other KOLs from all other live e-commerce platforms, and that's basically a result of our long-term dedication to live business and our long-term dedication to the supply chain empowerment and how we empower our KOLs. The other question was about the repurchase of the investments. So basically, this investment has nothing to do with other share repurchase or other decisions we have made in capital markets. It's purely driven by because we have actually make some investments in relevant companies and in relevant industries that we see appropriate. So one of the portfolio companies we have achieved very, very good growth over the last few years, and they have an event that we can potentially exit part of our holdings from the company. So that's why we receive some of the cash from this portfolio company, and that's why we receive the cash. Apparently, this cash will also be reflected in our cash balance as of end of December 31st of the 2020, but we can assure you that this has nothing to do with the timing of the repurchase of our own shares. We repurchased our own shares last quarter was primarily because we have a view that the company's market cap as of today does not reflect or does not fully reflect the full market cap, the full value of the company, or the long-term growth prospect of MOGU Live's business.
Okay, thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of Veronica Shen with China Renaissance. Veronica, your line is open.
谢谢那个 Shark Raymond， 然后我有2个问题，然后第一个问题是想问一下关于这个 active user 的，我也看到其实我们 year over year 的一个增长大概是有20%多，然后但是如果从 Q over Q 来看的话， 这个12个月的这个 active buyer 好像是有一个 decline 的，然后想问一下这背后的原因是什么？然后我也明白，刚刚我们也有提到说3季度可能是一个 lower season， 但是就是可能还是想看看4季度，然后以及未来我们的这个 active buyer 的一个 trend 的一个情况。对，这是我的第一个问题。要不然先问这一个。
可以，这个
对，然后我
关于这个
翻译一下好了。
好。
Thanks, management, for taking my question. My question is regarding the number of active buyers. We have seen 12-month active buyer decline on a quarter-over-quarter base. I'm just curious about what is the reason behind and how should we look at the user growth going forward. Well, I understand the third quarter is the low season for us, so any color about the fourth quarter and the coming year would be helpful. Thank you.
好的，这个问题这样的，其实我们好像之前几次也提到过这个问题，因为我们这个2年一直处在一个核心业务转型的过程，从以前的这个货架式的电商往这个直播电商在转型，然后呢，就是因为这个直播电商的这个客户的粘性，包括它的 UP 值等等都好几倍于这个就是原来的这种货架式的电商。我们还没有披露过这个很具体的这个细节，但是确实这个直播电商的这个单个客户的价值好几倍于原来的这个电商，所以在这个我们的客户获取的这个策略上面相对以前还是发生了一些变化。第一个呢，我们会更加重视直播客户的这个获取和保持，因为单个客户的这个 UP 值远远的高于以前的那种模式，所以对我们的财务状况来说它会比较有帮助。然后第二个呢，坦率的说因为外部的各种竞争的原因，单个获客的成本在过去3年增长的非常非常的多，所以特别是对于这种货架式的电商，那么参与这个和这几个巨头一块去参与跟他们的争夺货架式电商的这种用户成本实在是太高，所以大家也能看到我们最近一段时间其实在这个营销推广上面的这个成本是一定程度上是下降的主要的原因还是因为我们减少参与在这个货架式电商的这个竞争里面，因为那个实在是没有办法去这个就是我们的获客的成本和后面的 UP 值要去把它打平，要跟这几个巨头去竞争，我觉得在货架电商上确实是比较困难，但是我们的直播用户的这个 UP 值确实也非常好，所以在获客的这个策略上我们做了一些调整，最终的结果呢就是你们看到的我们的直播的这个活跃客户持续在增长，但是如果看总量的话它是在下降的。
Yes, maybe I will just quickly translate the Chuck's answer. So number one, as you can see that we are actually going through a transition from the traditional e-commerce to the live e-commerce. And apparently, we need to change our tactics as well. So we are seeing that the live users tend to have much higher ARPU and much higher frequency and very strong loyalty to the platform. So we actually value these customers more than the traditional e-commerce customers. And honestly, due to the competition, I think in last few years you can see that the cost of customer acquisition has been increasing quite rapidly. So we reduce our marketing and sales marketing expense in the traditional competition. In the traditional competition for e-commerce customers, we're actually more focused on the customers from the live video broadcasting channel. So this change of tactics, as you can see, has two results. Number one, we are seeing that our total number of the active buyers of LVB has been increasing, and number two, the total expense of the sales marketing has declined dramatically.
谢谢 Shark。然后我的第二个问题是想问一下我们的那个 take rate。然后我也看到就是这个季度的这个 take rate 可能较前几个季度也是有一个下滑，然后想问问这个背后的一个原因和未来我们这个 take rate 怎么看？Well, my next question is about the take rate. I have seen our take rate shows a downtrend in this quarter. So could you please elaborate more about it and how's the trend going forward in the following quarters? Thank you.
这个我做一个比较快速的一个解答就是 和我刚才的那个问题其实是比较相似的，因为我们的 take rate 它来自于其实2块业务嘛，一块业务就是原来的货架式的电商，另外一块呢是来自于这个直播的这个电商。简单的来说呢，原来货架式电商的 take rate 还是相对比较高的。那么在那部分的业务在缩减的这个过程中，总体会看到这个总的这个 take rate 会有一定的下降。但同时那是不是说我们的直播业务涨起来以后我们的这个 take rate 就不能往上？这个我觉得也不是，一个呢是我们直播业务也确实需要一些时间去这个培育，然后还有一些外部的一些竞争。虽然我觉得这个竞争和以前的货架电商不是特别一样因为直播的主播和客户的高粘着性，所以竞争并不会那么头对头的这样的非常激烈的这个竞争。所以对于这个直播的 take rate 往上的空间我们也还是乐观的。那另外一点呢，其实直播给我们带来的很重要的另外一方面的影响，其实是我们的成本的这个持续的下降。这个成本的下降主要其实表现在我们的这个人力成本方面。原因是因为原来我们的很多需要我们平台提供的服务和平台去做的很多的事情，事实上是由主播和主播的团队去承担了。比如说我们的头部的这个刚才讲到这个单场都能破2亿的这样主播，事实上他们的团队也已经挺大了，那有很多的成本其实是他们在承担。那么这些主播跟我们的合作关系呢，现在应该说已经是非常深的这个共生的关系了因为这个所有的粉丝供应链然后客户习惯等等都已经积累在这个平台上面，所以大家也已经是非常好的一个共生的关系总体是这些因素造成的
Sure, I will just quickly translate Shark's answer. The question was about the decline of the take rate of last quarter. And apparently, we are seeing a few reasons behind it. Number one, we are seeing the restructuring progress of shifting from traditional e-commerce to live e-commerce. The take rate for the traditional e-commerce usually was much higher than the live e-commerce, and we are seeing that as the live e-commerce takes up a greater percentage of the total GMV in last quarter. And so that's number one. We are seeing that the live e-commerce has lower take rate, so which actually drag down the overall take rate. And secondly, going forward, we are thinking that the take rate from the live e-commerce part has room to improve because the KOLs are actually very loyal to the platform, and their fans are very, very sticky to the platform as well. And we have all the exclusivity agreement with them. So going forward, it's possible that our take rate can potentially go up. It has. And number three, if we don't look at the revenue side, if we don't look at the take rate side, and we just look at the cost side, we can see that the cost from the platform cost has been decreasing over the last 2 years because KOLs are actually taking over a lot of organization burden from the platform. They are hiring a lot of people to do all the product curation, product selection. They are hiring a lot of people to do all the quality control, so that MOGU, the platform, doesn't need to hire as many people as we used to, which is evident in our cost of revenue decreased by 40%, and in our research and development decreased also by 45%. You can see that the platform expense and cost has been coming down over the last 2 years.
谢谢 Raymond， 谢谢 Shark。然后我最后再跟进一个小问题，就关于刚才提到的那个我们现在这个成本的节约也是控制的非常好嘛。然后想问问我们现在怎么看这个 break even 的这件事情？因为我记得之前也有跟公司聊过，可能有希望说今年年底有望能达到 break even。我也看到这个non-GAAP 的那个 net loss 现在是在逐渐的一个收窄。然后想问问现在的这个 target 是不变吗？Let me translate my question first. Well, in this quarter, we can see we did a good job on cost control, and our non-GAAP net loss has narrowed. So should we expect a break-even point within this year? Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Veronica. I will just answer the question directly. So I think break-even is a very important goal for our company in 2020 and in 2021, fiscal year 2021. I think it's a very important milestone, but we don't limit our financial performance because of the break-even point. We are actually thinking of from a long-term perspective, live video broadcasting e-commerce has a very, very long runway, and there's a lot of things we can do to grow this business to make this bigger. So break-even is a very important milestone, but we wouldn't be able to we don't provide a very specific guidance in terms of timing or in terms of when we can or how the specific timing that we will definitely do that. But from a big picture perspective, you can see that the loss from operations has been decreasing dramatically, and what the company's cash positions or against cash flow positions is getting increasingly healthy. So we think our financial positions are in a much better shape than a year ago. We definitely will keep in mind that we want to make sure that the break-even is possible in the foreseeable future, but we don't give very specific guidance. But we want to assure all the investors that we are trying our very, very best to capture all the potential possible growth opportunities in the live e-commerce space in China.
Okay, thank you, Raymond.
And again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your next question comes from the line of Charlie Chen with China Renaissance. Charlie, your line is open.
好的，那非常感谢在这个听我另外一个问题，我就想请问一下，刚才也说到，就是头部的这个主播做的还是蛮不错的，有超过这个过亿的这样的一个 GMV。那我想请问一下，公司有没有一些指标来衡量，就是对中腰部的这样一些主播的一个培养的一个成果，比如说他们的这个平均单场的这样一个数量是这个 GMV 到了多少，或者是单场能够破100万的这样一些数量是到了多少，有没有这样的一些指标来衡量一下整体这个主播的一个这个素质？谢谢。
先翻译一下吧。
So the question was about the incubation of the new KOLs. So basically, as we can see that the top KOLs on MOGU platform are doing very, very well. So what's the company's strategy going forward for the KOL incubation?
谢谢 Charlie。我们内部当然是有这个非常明确的这个指标的。我们也已经有一个非常清晰的从小主播一直到这些头部主播的整个培养体系以及分层的这个管理和赋能的这样一个体系。我们内部其实比较重要的一个经济团队和运营团队有个非常重要的指标，其实就是我们的中腰部主播的成长。我们非常清楚说我们的中腰部主播事实上才是我们整个平台的这个大盘的主力嘛，所以这个还是非常清晰的。关于说具体有这个比如说100万或者1000万的这个级别的这个数据，我们目前是没有公布过，但总体我们内部来看还是相对比较乐观的。今年还是增长了不少这个新的面孔，成长的速度也还都不错。然后刚才提到这个双11，然后双11这个我们头部的2个确实也冲刺的比较厉害，也跟我们在整个双11的这个策略上面。我们相对倾向于这个头部，我们希望我们的头部会更强，能够在行业里面有更强的这个竞争力。那到双12的时候，我们会整个资源就会相对倾斜到我们的中腰部的主播上面，希望把我们在头部帮助头部成功的这些经验能够变成我们的日常的固化的这个运营手段，然后覆盖到我们的中腰部的主播身上。所以其实我们看我们的双12的这个内部的这个我们的目标的话，更多的其实就是中腰部的主播了。
So thank you, Shuk. So I'm going to translate the answer very quickly. So the question is about the KOL incubation. Apparently, I think MOGU is the platform that has been extremely dedicated to KOL incubation. We have all the very comprehensive tiering and empowerment training system to make sure that KOL can grow and can thrive on our platform. So our operation team, their key KPI or their key objective in their day-to-day operation is to make sure that the KOL can grow and thrive on our platform. They are definitely the majority of our GMV contributor on the MOGU platform, and they definitely will be the key growth driver for us going forward. So we don't disclose very specific number of how many KOLs actually deliver more than 10 million sales over whatever period, but we are seeing that a lot of new faces are actually popping out on our platform. We are seeing new KOLs are performing very well on our platform, thanks to the very strong empowerment of our supply chain team, and they can actually deliver very, very affordable and at the same time very differentiating products to our customers, and they can be recognized and they can also well received by our customers. So as you can see, that Double 11 was a major event that we dedicated a lot of resources to our top 2 KOLs. But going forward, when it gets to the December promotion event, we will actually replicate our experience, replicate our operational know-how with more mid to long tail KOLs, and to make sure that they can grow and thrive as well. They can actually sell more. So that's our goal going forward, and that's the key KPI of our operation team going forward.
好的，谢谢。
There are no further audio questions. I will turn the call back over to Mr. Rene Vanguestaine for closing remarks.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, everyone, for joining the call today. If you have any further questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us here at MOGU. This concludes the call. Good night, all.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's conference call. Thank you for participating. You may now disconnect.